Hello, ladies. It's Angela here. Happy New Year. Thank you so much to everyone who has followed me all through 2025 and welcome to 2026. If you're following me in my YouTube channel, Angela Simpson, Functional Medicine, thank you so much. If you like what you see, please tell your friends, especially females over 40 or 50 struggling with hormonal imbalance symptoms. If you're following me on my Facebook group, Functional Medicine for Hormonal Imbalances, please invite your family and friends, especially in this specific age group. Women in this age group are suffering, there's no doubt. And I actually had something happen to me over the last month that made me relate to the shifts and changes that I'm experiencing in perimenopause. And I want to share it with you because a lot of women that I work with are also having some of these issues and symptoms. We really need to connect the dots to understand what's going on. As we move into perimenopause and menopause, as our hormone levels drop, many women can experience more joint pain, muscle pain, general aches and pains, soreness, harder to get out of bed and get things done in everyday life. But what about outside of that as well? What if you want to go out and do something recreationally? You want to exercise, work out, do something with a friend that involves movement, but you're too sore, stiff, or injured to do it. Many women that I work with, they start to have injuries that seem to come up out of nowhere. They have a shoulder that they can't get up overhead anymore. They may have general muscle stiffness and soreness. You may have a sore neck, a sore back. You may be having headaches that you never had before, and you may not know why this is happening to you. Many women equate this to the general aging process, and it's easy to do that because a lot of us around in this age group maybe have the same aches and pains. But you don't have to have aches and pains, injuries that come out of nowhere, injuries that come back on you, especially as a female over 40, 50, and beyond. There are things you can do, and the first step is to understand why this might be happening. As hormone levels lower, especially estrogen, but also progesterone and testosterone, these joints, especially around our knees, our shoulders, our hips, our lower back, these joints are aligned with estrogen receptors. As we have less estrogen available, what happens around the joints is they become less lubricated. They actually dry out a little bit and become a little less mobile, a little more stiff. And often with this can come either pain and or making us more susceptible to injury. So it's no secret that if you and others around you, females in your age group, are going through some of the same things around injuries or pain, this is part of it. And there's things you can do. And it doesn't necessarily involve just adding the hormones back in, estrogen, progesterone, and possibly testosterone because they're lowering. There's a lot of other things that you can do naturally to help lubricate the joints. Now, one of the big reasons women will feel some of these aches and pains as estrogen levels lower is if their inflammation is up systemically in their bodies. And for many of us, it is. There's lots of different causes of inflammation, and many women don't understand that you can feel like you have a really healthy whole foods diet, you're prioritizing sleep, you're prioritizing exercise, you feel like you're doing all the things. But what I find commonly is women have inflammation that they don't connect with stress. When we're under constant stress, which many women are in this age group over 40 and 50, this is the due time. Many women are running things at home, they're taking care of their family, they're taking care of their job, they're taking care of volunteer activities outside of work, the never-ending to-do list with groceries and laundry. And the cortisol levels are typically quite high because the body is always going, it's always doing. And when we have high cortisol, this actually does bring on systemic inflammation in the body. We can have this inflammation in the joints and the muscle tissue as well, and we can be more susceptible to it as the hormone levels shift and change. So one of the solutions that help us with our pain, joints, muscles, stiffness, and our ability to get up and move and exercise and do the things we want to do is actually lower our stress. And one thing that we can do to lower our stress that works well for many women, as long as you don't overdo it in this time period of life, is to move your body, to exercise. Now, it can seem like a cyclic problem because if you're sore and stiff, you don't want to exercise. Sometimes we have to adapt our exercise. And I know I've had to do that because I've had an injury come back on me. It seems like it's come back to haunt me out of nowhere. And I've had to adapt my exercise. I usually like to exercise a lot. I enjoy a lot of recreational activities, outdoors mostly. But because of what's happening with my body, I've had to shift gears and do more stretching, more things at home, yoga. I've had to go to the gym and do some very specific exercises to help me regain some strength where I'm injured. We have to understand that we have to adapt sometimes, especially as our bodies are shifting and changing. It doesn't mean that everything has to shift and change all at once, but it's important for us to understand how to connect the dots here. If you are having joint pain, inflammation in the muscles, that we think about all the things that could be contributing. Now, I mentioned stress. It's not the only thing. One of the other obvious places where inflammation can come from for us as females is from what we're eating. 80% of our inflammation is probably based on what we're putting on the fork and eating every day. So we have to try and adopt more of an anti-inflammatory diet. Many of us think we may be eating fairly well. Many women that I work with or talk to about working with me, they say, I'm eating a fairly healthy diet, healthy whole foods. But then when I actually work with them and we look very closely at what they're doing on a daily basis with their diet, many women, I'd say 70 to 80% of women that I start working with are eating more of a pro-inflammatory diet. They're eating a lot of sugar. There's a lot of hidden sugars in even whole foods, believe it or not, but often it's in the processed packaged foods, some of the treats and sweets that we like to have. It's very common to crave these things when there are imbalances in our body, especially as our hormone levels shift and change. If inflammation is up, it makes us crave and want some of these sweets. Those are very pro-inflammatory. Some other things as well are things like dairy and gluten, which is the protein that is in wheat, and red meat. If you're overeating that, can be very pro-inflammatory. Soy, eggs, corn. So there is alcohol. It's a big one as well. So there's a combination of foods that if you're eating them all the time in a rotational fashion, you're going to have more inflammation in the body. So often we have to adjust our diet. We may not want to. I know some women that I work with say, don't make me take away my cheese. I love dairy. That's the one thing I don't want to give up. But when they do give it up, they often notice a change. And I know for me, when I give up dairy, coffee, gluten, I feel so much better. And I see my inflammation come down in my body and my face, and I can feel it in my joints. Actually, I feel less pain. So we have to start to understand there's things we can do right away. Often women need to dive deeper and do some hormone testing to understand where they're at and how much this could be contributing to your joint pain. So this is what I do when I work one-on-one with women. We make sure we do the proper functional labs and we do testing with hormones to understand not only your hormone levels, but also how your body is processing and utilizing those hormones, which becomes really important as the hormone levels lower. There's not as many of them circulating, so your body really has to be efficient with the use of these hormones. There is functional lab testing that can check your hormones, see where you're at, see how well you're utilizing them. We can relate this to your health history, your dietary strategy, and some basic markers on your blood labs to understand if inflammation is up in the body so that we can develop a personalized plan to help you understand how to get on top of this inflammation, joint and muscle pain, and get yourself feeling better again. So I know personally that when you can't move your body, you can't do the things that you enjoy, everything seems hard when you're in pain, it's really important to get to the root of the problem. So if you're interested in learning how you could do this, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'm a functional medicine practitioner. I have been working in the field of women's health for over 20 years, and I have an absolute passion for helping females, especially if you are a female over 40 or 50 and you're struggling with hormonal imbalance symptoms, figure out the root cause of where those symptoms are coming from so that you can understand what's going on and develop a plan that's highly personalized to you so that you can start to get yourself feeling like yourself again. Please feel free to reach out to me. You can DM me if you're in my Facebook group. Send me a message. I'm happy to reply to you. Regardless of where you're watching this video, you can go to my website, www.angelasimpsonfunctionalmedicine.ca, and there is a place there for you to book a free consult for us to talk about your health and if it may be a good fit for us to work together. Thanks, ladies. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.